Hello, and you're listening to the Tiny Vet Podcast with me, Dr. Nicole, Sue, veterinarian, and my fiance.
Comedian Jez Watts. I just want to say it's very nice to be doing a clean podcast because the one I used to make was so messed up. A guest once paid me to scrub 2 episodes from the internet, and these will be up forever!
Yay!
What are we talking about today, my love?
It's a funny story. He's paid rent in podcasts in doing these podcast episodes for me.
Well, yes. So your food. What's your? How do you define that company?
Upilio?
Well, yeah, Upilio.
Pet
Upilio,
Tech.
who is the sponsor of this podcast.
Yes, Pet Tech.
Pet Tech.
Yeah.
But you're like food app, nutrition startup. Sort of hired me for my. You can't hear air quotes on an audio medium, but for my expertise in podcasts.
The problem is that we can't pay him until we get funding.
We'll pay you once we get VC funding, and it's like I originally was like, oh, cool, 6 months. It's like, no, that's not the timeline on that.
It's definitely been a journey.
Yeah, but I think it's
oh, it's really interesting. I've learned a lot from it.
Yeah, I think you love working on this thing, and at some point, hopefully, you do get funding. And it's all cash positive and whatnot, because we're broke, and a big part of that is my fault. But anyway, listen, what are we talking about today, my love?
How to pick a good breeder.
Oh, cool. Yeah, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. I say thank you because I wanted you to cover this topic.
Did you?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I asked you about it.
I can't remember. Like, when I do the list,
maybe I didn't.
I have them, and I can't remember.
Somebody asked me about it, and I thought I'd pass it on to you.
Yeah. And again, like, fairly controversial as well, because you're going to have people that go, oh, no, like, you should never get from a breeder.
Well, I think we have talked about breeders before.
Yeah.
And I think as well, probably every breeder presents themselves as good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Except for the, like, Gumtree Craigslist ones.
Well, the people who just sound insane.
Yeah, and they're like, 5 puppies for sale, like, back of a ute behind the Bayswater McDonald's. Jesus. Yeah. So that one, very clear.
Yeah.
And to be fair, there are definitely some animals, like, I haven't really found many rabbit breeders that I go, yeah, okay. Like, you're
they're like above board kind of people. Like, you haven't found any good ones.
Yeah. But for dog breeders, and cat breeders as well, like, there's a real benefit to going to a good dog breeder.
Mm-hmm.
And the nice thing with those guys is that it's really uncommon that any of their animals feed into the stray animal and homeless animal problem. So that's really good. And again, like, there's some people, like, I love greyhounds. I love them. They're so stupid. They're just so dumb. They've got this tiny little brain.
You really have a type. And
they're so cute. and they're actually great apartment dogs. Not a lot of people realize that.
Yeah.
But they're actually very lazy.
Yeah, well, so they run, but only in a short burst, is that right?
Yeah, so their races are like 200, 350 meters.
And they just chill out apart from that?
Pretty much.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so they're very short bursts. So, like, most greyhounds are just couch potatoes. It's great. Although, funny, I've never seen a fat one.
Yeah, well, they're just built to be thin.
And they can't sit down properly because their butt muscles are too big. So they have this weird, like, sideways sit that's really common for greyhounds. Anyway, I love greyhounds. And here in Australia, we've got a lot of, like, ex-racing greyhounds that are looking for homes. And because of the rabbits, I can never have one.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, there's going to be people like me where I'm going, all right, I basically need a dog that's not a dog if I'm going to get a dog.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the argument to get something from a breeder. Is if you need something that's kind of specific.
Yeah.
Right. Because okay.
Yeah,
all right.
And it's something where, like,
you.
even if, this particular type of dog comes up in a rescue as an adult, it's still something I'm going.
Right.
And there are definitely greyhounds out there that, have been tested with, cats and other small animals, and they have been good with them before. But I think this is always going to be something where I'm going, oh, yes, but...
Yeah, it's something... Well, I mean, especially with greyhounds, right? That's something that's so generationally bred in.
It's very genetic for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, like, they'll just chase any fuzzy thing. Any small fuzzy thing.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So that's the hard part, and there are lots of good breeders around, but they can be quite hard to find because the bad ones are the ones that are doing all the advertising.
Yeah.
And the good ones, like, they don't have to advertise. Or it's not something where they're looking to advertise because they are breeding for their own goal. I feel like that's
very true in so many areas of life.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with animals even. Like, anyone who's going out of their way to tell you how great they are, probably ain't.
Probably not so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're breeding for, their own, they want to better the breed. They have their own goal in mind of what they want to achieve with their own breeding program. They're not going, I need to get rid of these puppies or sell these puppies.
Yeah. I think, we talked about it, maybe it wasn't on the podcast, but we talked about how the good breeders are usually out of stock.
Yeah. So
like you actually have to wait
it's like 1 year, 2 years
for the good breeders.
Yeah.
Because the bad breeders are just like churning. They want as much money as they can get.
100%.
So you're going to get dogs with the worst problems are going to come from people who have them all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So limited, like the good breeders will often have a very limited number of litters.
Right.
Because these are meticulously planned.
Yeah, sure.
Like they probably have their breedings planned like 2-3 years in advance.
Right.
And all the pairings. So that's why they've got the wait list. And you can go, all right, why did you pair, this male with this female? And they will talk forever about it because there's so much thought and consideration that's gone into these pairings. And they've got a goal. So they go, all right, well, my breeding goal for the next 2 or 3 generations is I want to eliminate this fault, or I want to breed for good hips, or breed for this or that.
Yeah.
And then they're going to tie that in as well to why they've chosen this particular pairing. And often they'll go, I've gone this pairing because, I'm hoping a pup from this pairing in the future I'm going to do with this other pairing.
Right.
Yeah, so
whereas the goal of the other breeders is to get a speedboat.
Yeah, like to make puppies, essentially, which is sadly common now because with COVID and everything, there are some of the Doodle breed puppies at like $10,000. It's insane.
What?
So, the Doodles? Like the cross poodle.
more than 10 grand. I was.
Yeah. So like
10 grand for a puppy, huh?
Crazy, right? And like the stupid colored French bulldogs.
Maybe we should be breeders. Ever think about that?
Yeah, but like there's French bulldogs, I think, and they're this defective color, which is I think blue merle,
right?
And it just comes with so many problems, that particular gene.
Oh, it's like a super recessive thing.
Yeah. And those are worth like crazy amounts of money because they're unique or whatever.
Oh, they look interesting.
Yeah, but like they're just genetic nightmares.
Yeah, sure. It is that thing with I don't think enough people really put enough weight on that hybrid vigor thing.
Yeah.
That you just want a mutt. Like a mutt of any species, of any breed or whatever. If it's just a bunch of different stuff together, it will be the healthiest, best animal or the hottest human being you've met. It's always the case. You want to just take things as far from each other as possible and just put them together. But I think everyone loves this idea of purebreds,
They do, and like people with like Doodles, like poodle crosses, they get really offended when you're like, that's not a proper breed.
Well, what's a proper breed?
So a proper breed is one that conforms to the breed standard and has been long enough that it produces a like
a reproducible sort of phenotype?
Yeah. So you like a golden retriever, you always know what a golden retriever looks like.
Yeah, okay.
But like the Doodles, they come in all shapes and sizes and colors.
I mean, they're new though, right? Like, so...
Yeah, they're new. Like, eventually they will...
At a certain point, they will be a proper breed.
Yeah, eventually they will become a proper breed, but at this point, not really. And also, at this point, they've not... A lot of them, they don't really have a proper goal that they're breeding for.
Right.
They're just... Like, there's some Bernedoodles
I will say, if I had spent 10 grand on a dog, first of all, shoot me. But if I had spent 10 grand on a dog, I'd want that dog to be respected also.
Yeah, that's probably part of it.
Yeah.
Where, like, they just spend a lot of...
It's a 10K dog. Show some respect.
Insane.
I don't think I could get 10K for me and my whole life.
No, absolutely not.
No,
You'll be lucky
negative 10K.
Yeah, I'll be lucky to break one.
Yes.
Yeah, and good breeders also provide a lot of post-purchase support. Mm-hmm. So part of that is, yes, they want to support the new owner, but also they want to know how the puppy's going because they're very invested in each individual animal that they produce.
Right.
So those hallmarks are good breeders, and of course you're going to have ones that don't really fit the mold, but generally I find these are pretty good check marks.
Yeah.
For breeders.
And again, I'm not sure if we have covered this in the podcast before. I feel like we have, but But yeah, are there like online resources to find good
Yeah,
breeders?
there's a few. So there's a couple like directories for breeders here in Australia. There's probably some in US, UK as well. And I think what I like to see for a lot of these breeders as well is that they are involved in some sort of breed club or they show or something where they're part of that breed's community. Why are you laughing?
Sorry, I mean, I was actually trying to work out if this fit the tone of the podcast, but breed club feels like like it feels like a euphemism for an orgy.
Yeah,
which I don't think it is the tone of the podcast. I think I have to remove that now.
Well, I go to adult riders, which is adult riders club as opposed to pony club.
Yeah.
And the first time I said adult riders to a friend that is not horsey, he was like, "What?"
Yes, adult riders does sound like that same euphemism.
Yeah, it does. And I'm like, "Oh, it's like pony club for grown-ups."
Yeah, sure.
So there are a few animal things where you're like, "Ooh." Yep. And like bad breeders, one thing that I find really common in them is they breed lots of different breeds. They'll be like, we breed golden retrievers and poodles and Cavalier King Charles Spaniels, and it's pretty much just whatever breed that has been popular for the past 10 years.
Yeah, sure.
So that one I get like some breeders they'll breed 2 or 3 different breeds, and that's fine. Like they just have more time on their hands and they have that passion for more than one breed. But the one
if you're offering a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it is really suspicious. I
it's like I guess like a restaurant that does all kinds of things.
Like those are like 500 menu items and like
you're like no, I want a specialist.
Disgusting. Yeah. They won't have a clear focus or plan, and it'll become really evident when you go, oh, so why did you pair the sire and the dam, and they don't know.
Yeah.
Or they come up with.
But if you're a layman, like how are you gonna know the questions to ask?
So that's where. Actually, what I tell some people is book an appointment with a vet before you get the puppy. Just to literally sit down at the vet for your appointment time and just talk about it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and we can talk to you about these kinds of things as well.
Alright.
So they'll go, oh, she's just so beautiful, or her temperament's so good. I'm like, a good temperament is necessary for you shouldn't have to mention it. Because if it doesn't have a good temperament, it shouldn't be bred from.
Sure.
So stuff like that. Oh, she's just such a good mom. Oh, she's just so cute. And that's like, all right, well, you're just pulling stuff up here. But currently. And some of them, so they won't show or they won't participate in breed activities as well. Probably because their animals don't conform to any sort of standard. So, yeah, big red flags. But I think the multiple breeds one, that's probably the biggest red flag that you can see quite quickly.
Yeah, right.
That's how you do it.
Breed Club.
The Tiny Vet Podcast is brought to you by Upilio. Sources for our topics can be found at upilio.io. Outro music by Matt Charleston.